So I thought I'd just give you a glimpse into each of the books, just show you one or two the kind of ideas that each one contains. The initial grade, obviously the technical requirements are very small and mostly we're in 5-finger positions and that kind of thing. Although I do take us outside the usual sort of notes sometimes. There's a piece, for example, called The Little Jingle Bell, and it says, find the G 2 octaves above this note. So we're up here. You know, I'm sure you do use these notes, particularly in improvising. But you know, sometimes maybe a player hasn't actually experienced some of these high notes. So in The Little Jingle Bell, we use this particular note. Just give you a little indication. It starts. And next to it, we've got one called The Great Tolling Bell, which uses some very low notes. So it explores the piano. Another idea that I've used a lot right through all the books is the idea of holding notes down. Obviously, this won't work on an electric piano, although I've got ideas for an electric piano. And you get these wonderful sounds that pianos can make. So it says, play these 5 notes. Now play them all at the same time. Now find the same notes an octave lower, press the keys down, and it goes on and tells you to hold them down without making a sound. And then we have a piece here called The Sorcerer's Cavern. And so it goes on, and we can enjoy those lovely sounds that the piano does. And the other piece here I thought I might mention, Procession of the Goats, Gazelles and Goldfish. And all the pieces I've tried to put quite a lot of markings in, because that's really, I want to encourage a development of the imagination. It's having a go at these pieces, one a week or however long people want to play them for, but really to develop colours, musical colours. So they've all got quite a number of markings and of different natures, articulation, dynamic. This one's got a lot of dynamic changes, and I hope will be instantly understandable for what it's trying to do. Let me play a little bit. Procession of the Goats, Gazelles and Goldfish. So it goes on. So a lot to really think about there and enjoy. So for grade 1, again, there's about 30 pieces in each book. So altogether, you know, nearly 250 pieces in the whole series. And there's quite a few that are more kind of conventional, traditional in the way that they use the piano. But again, I'd just like to pick out one or two that are slightly less conventional, interesting. There's one here in grade 1 called What's That in the Mist? And firstly, I've asked for the pedal to be kept down throughout the piece. So some very gentle kind of little clusters which we create, and then this sort of rather misty tune that comes out of it. And I think interesting to play. So this is, I'll just give you a little bit of it. So again, their colour, character, and a bit of punctuation, which I'm going to talk a bit about more a little bit later on. And the other one I just thought I'd mention from this book is called Beeping Horns. And both hands only play 2 notes, or just about 2 notes, maybe 3 in the left hand. And it creates, it's all based on this chord here. and it's very energetic, lots of accentuation, staccato marks, but I think a lot of fun to be gained out of this piece. Beeping horn. I think they're going to enjoy that one. And just lots of other fun pieces. Lots of robots and spy pieces, chips and sauce. So that's grade 1. So moving on to grade 2, and I've chosen out of the collection here a couple of pieces. There's a few sort of spy pieces in it. This one is called Spies on a Mission. And it's a little bit more developed in terms of the use of technique and what the hands are doing. But again, just a lot of fun, I think. And I think that our learning pianists will enjoy this. Here's a bit of it. Tantalizingly there, what happens to the spies at the end of their mission, but I think it ends happily. The other one I wanted to mention is a piece called Lost, because this gives us a chance really to get our pupils thinking about musical punctuation, which I think is such an important aspect of phrasing. Let me play you a bit and then I'll tell you what I mean. So a very expressive piece there, but lots of opportunity to punctuate. In other words, just to put little musical commas in, between the first two two-bar phrases. When do you start that second phrase? And I think we can spend some time with pupils, and I think they will get that if we talk about the way we speak, the way we put commas into our speech. And similarly, that last note, there's a writ, but exactly where do you place that last note? Just waiting a moment, a little comma there, and you place that last note, and that gives it such a musical feel. So that's a couple of things from grade 2. Grade 3 has a lot of fun stuff in it. Again, I thought I'd just pick up two. The first one, actually, ants and aardvarks, two of my favourite creatures. Here's one called Downtown. There's quite a number of them are quite jazzy in style, this one particularly. And so it goes on in that sort of simple, but you get a lot of the jazzier style there. And one of my favourites actually from this grade 3 book is the slow train. The slow train, which has a kind of train-like motif that goes all the way through, firstly in the right hand, then the left hand, and then a lovely warm melody to bring out and enjoy. So that's a couple of pieces from the grade 3 book. So just a couple of glimpses into grade 4. I thought I might just first, there's, as I've kind of mentioned, a number of spy-like pieces. This one's called Master Spy on a Mission. and it's got some unusual, well, maybe not unusual, but interesting rhythms throughout. They're not all four square. Interesting rhythms to kind of think about. There's a rather sort of Jurassic Park film music-y kind of one here called Dinosaur Alert. Again, lots of interesting ingredients, quite a lot of rests in this one, lots of dynamic colours to create. I'll just do the first three lines, which takes us from PP to FF, and has a sort of rather a film music-y kind of tune to it. So Dinosaur Alert. So it goes on. That's quite a favourite, certainly with some of my pupils. And one more, which is called the Bronx, NYC, New York City, which I've pinched a bit of Leonard Bernstein here. You'll see what bit I pinched. And there's a bit more, but I think that one goes down really rather well. That's a couple of pieces then from grade 4. So I've chosen a couple from a lot of fun pieces in the grade 5 book. I thought I'd just play you a bit of this one called A Twist in the Plot. And a twist in the plot, there's just a couple of notes that you don't expect in this, but it's how you play them that's interesting and important. And obviously there's a wit in this piece. And again, that's something I want my pupils to think about. You know, how do you create these characters? So let me play just less than the last two lines, where there is a number of unexpected notes, but it's timing those notes and enjoying where you put them, all part of the fun of learning these pieces. Quite a bit of fun, I think, to be had at the end of that piece there, and other bits of it as well, where the plot twists. And just a little bit of this one, Haunted. There's a lot of sort of Harry Potter inspired pieces with all sorts of wizards and hexes and such like. This one's Haunted, C minor. Incidentally, all the books take as their basic ingredients all the keys and the kind of rhythms and other technical aspects that one would expect to find in sight reading pieces in those particular grade levels. So it absolutely prepares you for the sight reading, but does it in the way that we've been talking about, giving you a lot of experience in really looking at music and bringing it to life, and not being frightened by the dots on the page. A little bit of Haunted. Give away the end of the story. So that's a bit of Haunted. A couple of pieces then from grade 5. There's a lot of fun stuff in grade 6. One piece actually called Skydive, which is a memory of when I jumped out of an aeroplane a couple of years ago. Rather an exciting moment. Anyway, I've chosen 3 just to give you a taste. The first one is called Cosmic Dust, and it's a study really in tone quality and colour. It's not in any way difficult from a technical point of view, but I think it's quite engaging from a musical point of view. So you keep the pedals down, and it does this kind of thing. And so on. It really gives you a sense of balance and touch and all sorts of other fascinating things. This one is called Shimmering. Actually, no, I won't do Shimmering next. I'll do that one last. I do this one called Frenzy. Similarly, it just uses the piano interestingly. It's another one where you hold down keys. There's one of these at least actually in every book. It's always a thing, getting those notes down without signing them. So Frenzy. So that's really quite fun to play. And then Shimmering, I'll just play the last bit of this, which again, it's just interesting sounds that we get, and lots, I don't know whether you can actually see the notation there, lots of interesting notation in this, but lots of semiquavers, but I don't want people to be intimidated by semiquavers, just to enjoy them. So here's a bit of Shimmering. So a lot of fun to be had from that. So a couple of pieces from 6. And finally we come to the last book in the series, which I've only just completed, and was quite fun to do, quite hard work, but it was fun to do. Grade 7 and 8 in one book. And there's a lot of fun titles here. Hold on to your handlebars. I wonder what style that's going to be in. Let's end on a high note. That's the last piece, which does indeed do so. There's a micro prelude and fugue, and all sorts of other interesting things. I'd just like to just give you a few moments. Here's one I like. This one is called To Bees or Not To Bees. And there is an answer to that. You have to kind of work it out, but the answer's in the music. And it's in 3/8, and it gives you this kind of rather fun sort of bee-like effect. And so it goes on. 2 bees or not 2 bees. There's one called 7, which is in 7 beats in the bar. Rather hypnotic. goes on. That's 7. And there's the Micro Prelude and Fugue. Some rather witty titles. Here's one called Hand It Over. You can see the reason why it's called Hand It Over. So there you are. That's a kind of look at what this whole series is about. And maybe I'll just play one complete one to finish off from the Great 7 and 8. And this one is called Machines.